Hey everyone and welcome. This is Francesca from Social Work Portal, and today we're exploring how to confidently navigate a social work job interview. I'll unpack exactly what interviewers are looking for, how to decode complex scenario-based questions, and how to structure your answers using the STAR method. By the end, you should be able to walk into that social work interview feeling completely prepared and confident. So what actually makes social work interviews different? Unlike traditional corporate roles where the primary focus is on the technical output or sales targets, social service agencies are assessing a unique combination of soft skills, clinical capabilities, and administrative discipline. Here's 5 core areas they're typically evaluating. Ethical reasoning. Can you apply rigorous ethical principles to navigate complex gray areas? Empathy and compassion. Can you establish safe boundaries while maintaining an open heart? Communication skills, particularly when under pressure or during a crisis. Documentation habits, because in social work, if it isn't documented, it didn't happen. Also, documentation is critical for funder reporting. And professional judgment, when quick decisions must be made. Throughout your interview, the hiring team is quietly asking themselves, can I trust this person alone with a vulnerable client in crisis? Keep this core question in mind as we move forward. To help you prepare effectively, I'm going to categorize the questions you're likely to face. Generally, social work interview questions cluster into these 5 essential areas. Crisis management. Interviewers want to know your protocols for high-stakes safety issues, like assessing self-harm or safety planning. Ethical dilemmas. You'll be asked about navigating situations where values conflict, like balancing client self-determination with safety concerns. Client engagement. How do you handle a hostile, resistant, or completely uncommunicative client on day one? Time management. Social work is notorious for high case volumes and being short on time. How do you prioritize when everything feels urgent? And documentation, showing you understand statutory compliance, timelines, legal frameworks, and reporting needs. Now let's talk about answering behavioral questions using the STAR method. When an interviewer asks, "Tell me about a time when," they are testing your behavioral consistency. One of the best ways to answer is by using this STAR method. Let's break it down. S stands for situation. Set the scene quickly. Give context. Who was the client and what was the setting? Keep it to about 15% of your answer. T is for task. What was your specific responsibility in the situation? What was the goal or conflict that needed to be resolved? A is for action. This is the most important part, representing about 60% of your response. What specific steps did you take? Use I statements instead of we. Explain the clinical reasoning behind your choices. R is for result. What was the positive clinical outcome? What did you learn? And what was the long-term impact? And here's a pro tip. Don't shy away from being deeply honest and reflective here. Interviewers value your self-awareness and active cognitive processes just as much as the perfect outcome. Now, at some point during the social work interview, you're likely to be asked the classic question, what are your greatest strengths and weaknesses? In social work, the key is showing emotional intelligence as well as self-awareness. For your strengths, focus on highly relevant professional assets. such as how you use trauma-informed care. Active listening is another strength to highlight. Keeping highly consistent and objective case files. Serving diverse demographic communities. And your skills with client engagement, building trusting partnerships. Next, the growth areas, also sometimes framed as weaknesses. When discussing growth areas, never use fake ones like "I work too hard." Social worker interviewers will see right through that. Instead, offer a genuine, relatable challenge paired with your active strategy for managing it. For example, you might talk about your tendency to overcommit because you care so deeply, but follow that up by explaining how you now use a structured prioritization framework and supervisee check-ins to protect your caseload quantity. Here's a few to think about. Overcommitting, learning to actively manage task load to maintain top service quality. Comfort with delegating your tasks to others. Streamlining clinical recording speed without losing case detail. And actively seeking more training for highly specific demographic groups. Framing these as growth areas rather than weaknesses doesn't skirt the question and puts you in a more positive light. Okay, next we're going to look at scenario questions. These sound like, imagine a client walks in and states X, Y, and Z. What do you do? When the panel of a social work interview process throws you complex, messy scenarios, they aren't looking for a magic, immediate cure. They want to see your step-by-step clinical safety checklist. Always walk them through these 4 steps in order. First, assess. Show that your very first move is to gather the facts, screen for immediate safety risks, and determine basic needs. Second, communicate. Explain how you would establish safety, use de-escalation techniques, and build immediate client rapport. Third, consult and collaborate. Never act as a lone wolf. Always state that you would consult agency policy, your supervisor, or legal guidelines. And fourth, document. Reiterate that you would record everything objectively, transparently, and in timely compliance with your agency's standards. Unexpected scenario questions can often throw you off your game, but they don't have to. Just follow this 4-step roadmap as you process. So let's zoom in on documentation for a moment, because it's often the unsung hero of social work. Thorough, precise recording is not just an administrative chore. It's a critical clinical protective tool, and it can be your secret weapon during your social work interview. Documentation protects your clients by ensuring case continuity. It protects you legally, and it safeguards your organization. To impress the interviewers, weave these 4 concepts into your answers. Speak to the value of timely, complete notes, written before crucial details fade. Highlight your discipline with objective clinical language, recording observable, verifiable facts rather than subjective assumptions. Demonstrate your respect for agency policy integration and structural formatting. And emphasize your strict adherence to HIPAA and rigorous security protocols. One way that you can get up to speed on documentation is to practice in the Case Management Hub platform. It has everything you need from case notes to client files to reporting and more. I'll tell you how to get a free trial in just a moment. Now, as we wrap up our social work interview tips, let's look at your roadmap for preparation success. Start by doing your research. Know the organization's specific programs, funding streams, and the demographics they serve. Next, practice out loud. Speaking your answers out loud changes how you formulate thoughts under pressure. Third, prepare your stories using the STAR method so you'll have them ready to share. And fourth, review your ethics. Make sure your answers align beautifully with the NASW Code of Ethics. That stands for National Association of Social Work, which I'm sure you know. Fifth, ask thoughtful questions at the end of the interview about caseload sizes or supervision styles. And finally, be confident. You've got this. Your professional skills, dedication, and empathy have the power to change and save lives. Focus on the authentic value you bring to this community. Take a deep breath before you go in and let your passion shine through. Want a little help brushing up for your interview? Check out the Case Management Hub. It includes several standard note templates, intakes, and assessments that all align with social work standards. Just click the link in the description for a free 21-day trial. No credit card is needed. It'll help you brush up on the basics. Thanks so much for hanging with me and watching my video. If you like this type of content and want to learn more about social services and nonprofit tools and resources, like this video and subscribe to our channel. You'll never miss one of our new exciting videos.